Tons of people around the world absolutely mess with NBA YoungBoy's music. And he has one of the most loyal fan bases in the rap game. Whether you're really into YoungBoy or you just like the memes, it's important to know what's going on with the guy and why you're probably going to end up hearing a lot more about him. He used to be known as YoungBoy Never Broke Again, but has since changed his name to where it has the acronym. His real name, though, is Kentrell Deshaun Gaulden. Starting in 2015 and running for a couple of years until 2017, he dropped almost 10 underground mixtapes before record execs at Atlantic heard about him and signed him immediately. After a few singles, he dropped his first album, Until Death Called My Name, which came out in 2018 and peaked at number 7 on the Billboard Hot 200s chart. The next year, AI YoungBoy 2 dropped, which would be even bigger than the first album, topping the chart. He also worked with the tragically gone Juice WRLD on this album, on what would be his biggest single yet, Bandit. In 2021, he released 38 Baby 2 and Top, both of which would top the charts in that year. Dude had features from Meek Mill, Young Thug, and 21 Savage before he was even signed to a major label. If we're talking about someone who's been killing the rap game ever since he's been putting out music, why not speak on him anyway? Well, on the other side of every great rise is a fall. And it looks like that might be what NBA YoungBoy is in for. YoungBoy grew up living with his grandma in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. He dropped out of school in 9th grade to pursue a music career, but shortly after, he got arrested and sent to a detention center where he began to write the lyrics for his first mixtape. After he got out of there, his grandma passed away due to heart failure, and he had to find a new spot. He and his friend moved in together and quickly turned to crime to be able to buy studio time. One thing we were going to be seeing time and time again throughout this story is that NBA YoungBoy is really about the life he claims. And that might not always be a good thing for him from time to time throughout his life. When we're talking about trouble, the first time he really got hit with anything serious was in 2016. He was spotted in Austin, Texas before a show where he was arrested on suspicion of attempted first-degree murder. There had been a shooting, and NBA YoungBoy was a suspect in the case. Witnesses say that he jumped out of a vehicle before opening fire on a crowd in South Baton Rouge. He released 2 mixtapes while being held in jail: Before I Go, Reloaded, and Mind of a Menace 3, Reloaded. After a while, he was able to get out on a plea deal in 2017, posting bail. The charge was reduced, but it still didn't look good. When it comes to the shooting, he had some things to say about the event. He said, "I don't think they really target, but if you got a name, they know who you is, you do something, they gon' come get you. And whoever you're with and whatever they do, you're accountable for it because you got the biggest name." That's how that shit go. It's not sure if YoungBoy was denying guilt, but it's totally valid to say that the justice system would make a point out of going after whoever has the biggest name. He spent a good while not getting in trouble. Things were going well, and that lasted for a little bit. In 2018, he got arrested again outside of a nightclub on a warrant. His warrant in Georgia was for assault, kidnapping, and weapons. After the case was looked into, the security cams had captured video of YoungBoy assaulting someone. He paid $75,000 and walked after that. In September of 2019, YoungBoy got hit with a house arrest for 14 months following a shooting involving him and his ex-girlfriend in which a man was killed. He went to the joint for 3 months, but after that, he got the ankle bracelet. While all of this has been happening, YoungBoy has continued releasing hit after hit, releasing more and more music to grow his fan base. In late 2020, about 16 suspected gang members were arrested in Baton Rouge. The charges range from the manufacture of substances and trafficking to possession of stolen firearms. His lawyer gave a statement saying that he wasn't in possession of any substances or firearms at the time, but that didn't really seem to fly. After this happened, the word started to spread about all that mess. YoungBoy decided to delete literally all of his socials from Twitter and Instagram. After such a high-profile arrest, you'd think he'd be on the straight and narrow so as not to get himself into any more trouble or draw any more attention to himself, especially since he had deleted all the socials. At the height of YoungBoy's career so far in March of 2020, YoungBoy got arrested again, this time with some of the highest stakes he's faced so far. It turns out the young boy had a federal warrant out for his arrest, a much more serious deal than any of the state warrants he'd been arrested on so far. Federal agents found him and followed him. They tried to stop his car, but young boy ran from them for a good while. After a minute, young boy hopped out of the whip and hit the dash on his feet. Unfortunately for him, they got a K9 out and followed him until they were able to apprehend him and bring him in to throw the book at him, hitting him with several big charges. Remember, these aren't just smaller state charges, but federal charges. This means that any legal battle he's gonna have is gonna be a lot worse than any of the other ones he's faced so far. Hopefully he spent some of his cash on a great lawyer, because finding a way to get out of this one is gonna be incredibly difficult. What makes matters worse is that young boy has 7 children as well, all of which are gonna have a hard time if he's not able to make his money anymore because he's in jail. He's got 5 boys and 2 daughters. We've also had some developments from here. After the arrest on federal charges, young boy got out on bail after posting $540,000, putting up to $1.5 million properties as collateral in some lengthy court trials. Weirdly enough though, he got transferred over to Baton Rouge, where he was arrested yet again and is still being held. The judge called him a danger to the community, so it's likely that he's not going to be getting out anytime soon, or at least until the trials are all sorted out. They decided that with his past aggression, the seriousness of the charges, and the rest of the mess that's going on, he's a potential flight risk. The new charges are possession of a firearm while on probation and possession of a firearm by a convicted felon. This isn't the first time a rapper has been arrested on these kinds of charges, but with all the high-profile charges happening in rap right now, it's not surprising. That being said, no one thought that young boy, pretty much at the height of his game, would get caught on some stuff like this. Another issue is that before the arrest was made by the FBI, NBA YoungBoy had been refusing to show up for his court-mandated substance tests. While it's true that he was scheduled for dental work in New York during one of these tests, the court called him out for not rescheduling. Now that this case is so high profile, it makes sense that this happened looking back. There have been more and more high-profile raids on the houses of rappers over the years, and a lot of them have been orchestrated by intelligence agencies like the FBI. People like Waka Flocka Flame, Bobby Shmurda, and other up-and-comers have all had their houses raided by various police forces, which is one of the reasons Gucci Mane was in prison for so long. Maybe the case that's being brought against NBA YoungBoy is actually just part of a growing pattern of police raiding rappers under suspicion, finding something, then locking them away. His lawyers put out a statement saying, "What happened to him in California was a travesty. Every law enforcement agency knows we represent Kentrell, and no one told us of his warrant. Had they told us that he was indicted, we would have voluntarily surrendered him at our office in a safe and non-public manner." He may get out on a technicality or something like that, but at this point, it's pretty unclear. It seems like his lawyer is fighting hard and that he has some legitimate points to make when it comes to the case. According to some, NBA YoungBoy could have put out upwards to $2 million to fight for his freedom. That being said, skipping out on tests, PO visits, and disregarding curfew could really come back to screw him over in the future. If YoungBoy is indeed convicted of everything he's been accused of so far, it looks like he's going to be facing a prison sentence of about 10 years. Woo. There's also the fact that the whole Never Broke Again clique has been linked to a few instances of gang violence and deaths, most likely as a part of a feud that's been brewing for ages now. Back in 2018, YoungBoy's agent was shot in an unsolved murder. Although the rival gang to their crew is suspected, the beef with Top Boy Gorilla Gang could have a lot to do with why YoungBoy is in trouble. Detectives working on the case have said in days prior to Burton's death, both Burton and Galden made several social media posts about one another, which further exacerbated tensions between the two rival rap music groups. When Burton was killed, members of the NBA group were immediately developed as suspects due to the ongoing rap music feud. Now it's sad to know that YoungBoy came from nothing like this. And even though he isn't directly implicated in serious crime, he's probably gonna get the book thrown at him. Whether you love his music or don't really care, you probably have an opinion on whether he's gonna get out of this one, or if we won't be hearing from him for a while. Let us know what you think is about to go down in the comments below. Subscribe for more, and have a great day. Deuces.